Believe it or not, science has cracked the code on making your dog love you even more. From how you should look into their eyes to what kind of touch builds the deepest connection, these methods aren't just based on guesswork, they're backed by research. In this video, we'll explore 12 proven scientific tips that can take your relationship with your dog from just friendly to unbreakable. Number 12. Physical affection dogs crave for. A scientist decided to see just how much our dogs really feel the love. She took 10 dogs and had their owners spend an hour hanging out with them. Afterward, she checked their oxytocin levels, the love hormone that helps us feel close to others. What did she find? The more the owners kissed their dogs, the higher their dog's oxytocin levels shot up. So if you want your dog to love you even more, throw in some extra kisses. But here's the thing, kissing isn't the only kind of physical affection dogs crave. They're all about those warm touches. Number 11. The feel-good hormones. In South Africa, researchers teamed up 18 dogs with 18 humans to see what happens when we give our furry animals a little love. The humans spent a few minutes petting the dogs, and guess what? The dog's oxytocin and dopamine levels, the feel-good hormones, skyrocketed. But that's not all. The dog's blood pressure also went down, which means that petting isn't just about bonding. It's actually healthy for your pup. And the cool part is humans get the same benefits too. But let's not forget that dogs have more love languages than just physical touch. Next, you'll discover another surprising way to connect with your fur baby on a new level. Number 10. Powerful bond between humans and dogs. A Japanese scientist who's as dog-obsessed as we are wanted to figure out why the bond between humans and dogs is so powerful. So he brought together 30 pairs of dogs and their owners for a little experiment. Each pair hung out in a room for 30 minutes, with the humans petting, chatting, and gazing into their dog's eyes. What did they find? In the pairs that spent the most time locking eyes, oxytocin levels, aka the love hormone, shot up by 130% in dogs and 300% in humans. But for those who didn't really spend time gazing at each other, there was no oxytocin boost at all. So what's the deal with all this eye contact? When human moms gaze into their baby's eyes, their oxytocin levels surge, strengthening their bond. It turns out that staring into your dog's eyes similarly affects you. It's like looking at your fur baby. But here's the big question. Is this special bond unique to you and your dog? Or do dogs just love people? This study focused on dogs and their owners, but it raises some interesting thoughts about whether dogs really see their owners as a family, or just really like hanging out with humans. Number 9. Owners' comfort and confidence. An Austrian scientist devised a clever experiment to see how much dogs rely on their owners for comfort and confidence. She placed dogs in a room with a tricky puzzle toy stuffed with pieces of sausage. Irresistible, right? But there was a twist. In each scenario, the dog was either with their owner, a stranger, or completely alone. Based on past research, dogs tend to feel more secure and explore when their owner is nearby. But what happens when it's just a stranger in the room? The study revealed that dogs spent way more time working on the puzzle when their owner was present than alone or with a stranger. This shows that dogs feel more comfortable and motivated when their beloved human is around. Interestingly, whether a stranger was in the room or the dog was left alone didn't really affect how long they played with the toy. But here's something surprising. While dogs clearly prefer their owner's presence, there's something people commonly do that can actually stress dogs out. Number 8. Reward-based versus aversive training. In Portugal, researchers studied 92 dogs trained using either reward-based methods, punishment-based techniques, also called aversive training, or a mix of both. Unsurprisingly, the dogs trained with punishment showed more signs of stress and had higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, right after their training sessions. But here's where it gets really interesting. The study didn't just stop there. They also ran a cognitive bias test on the dogs later, outside of any training. What did they find? The dogs trained with punishment were more pessimistic, meaning they had a gloomier outlook on life compared to the ones trained with positive rewards. These dogs were less optimistic and saw the world in a more negative light, which can affect their overall happiness. So if you want a joyful, confident pup, this study strongly suggests sticking to reward-based training methods and ditching punishment altogether. After all, a happy pup is all about positive vibes. Nobody wants a stressed out fur buddy. Number 7, the infamous dog voice. Let's discuss something most of us do when interacting with our dogs.
Using the infamous dog voice.
But does this quirky voice actually make your dog love you more? Researchers at the University of York in the UK decided to find out. They compared how dogs reacted to the typical dog voice versus a normal adult voice. The results? Dogs were much more engaged when they heard that playful, high-pitched tone. They spent more time looking at the person and stayed closer to them than when a regular voice was used. So there you have it. All those funny voices you use actually do help your dog feel more connected to you. Talking to your pup in that silly voice, petting them, and making eye contact is key to deepening your bond and making them love you even more. Number 6, bonding time. Here's a simple tip that's effortless and free. That's spending more time with your dog. Studies show that the more quality time you spend with your pup, the less likely they are to suffer from separation anxiety. In addition, the more you're around, the fewer behavior issues they're likely to have. It's pretty clear that your presence makes a big difference in their happiness and behavior. So if you want to keep your dog content and well-adjusted, just make sure to enjoy lots of bonding time together. It's an easy way to show love and keep your furry friend feeling great. Number 5, quality time versus tasty treats. What do dogs love more? Spending quality time with you or munching on tasty treats? A study in Atlanta, Georgia ran 3 interesting experiments to find this out. First, they used MRI scans to check how dogs' brains reacted to images of food and praise. Then, in the third experiment, they set up a maze with food in one path and their owner in the other. So what did they find? The results were pretty evenly split. Some dogs were all about the food, while others went wild for praise from their humans. The fascinating part is that each dog's preference stayed consistent across all 3 tests. Each dog seems to be a major foodie or a people lover. But remember, these results might change depending on what treats you use or how long it's been since you last saw your dog. So while these findings are interesting, they don't cover every possible situation. Take them with a grain of salt. Number 4, attachment style. In a quick study on how to boost your dog's love for you, scientists in Hungary investigated how a dog owner's attachment style affects their furry friend. They surveyed 1,508 dog owners and found that dogs are more likely to develop separation anxiety if their owners have an avoidant attachment style. What does that mean? Basically, it's when an owner avoids giving lots of affection and close contact. So if you want to keep your dog feeling secure and loved, make sure to shower them with plenty of affection. This helps them feel confident that you'll always be there for them. Speaking of love, let's talk about some ways you can show it even more. Number 3, sharing bed with your dogs. But should you let your dog sleep with you? Dr. Dana Varbo, the Chief Veterinary Officer for the North American veterinary community, has some interesting insights. She says that generally, it's great for pets to snooze alongside their humans. According to her, dogs and cats that share a bed with their owners tend to have a higher trust level and a stronger bond with them. Dr. Varbo also points out that these close bonds come with health perks, like boosts in beneficial chemicals such as oxytocin and dopamine. So whether you're all in favor of sharing your bed with your dog or prefer them in their own space, this information sheds light on the positive effects of cuddling up together. Number 2, how greetings affect dogs. No matter how you choose to handle bedtime with your dog, there's one important thing all dog owners should keep in mind. Always say hello. Luckily, scientists have researched the best ways to do both. A Swedish scientist conducted a study to see how different greetings affect dogs. In this study, people walked into a room with dogs they already knew and greeted them in one of 3 ways: by talking and giving physical affection, just talking, or completely ignoring them. They tested the dog's oxytocin levels, a hormone linked to happiness, by taking blood samples after each greeting. So what did they find? When greeted with talking and physical touch, the dogs showed the highest oxytocin levels and the lowest stress hormone, cortisol. This means a warm, affectionate greeting makes your dog feel the happiest and most relaxed. Number 1, saying goodbye. What about saying goodbye to your dog? An Italian study looked into this by having people either pet their dogs for a minute before leaving or not give them any attention before heading out. The results were clear. Dogs who got a little petting before their owners left showed calmer behaviors for longer while they waited and had a lower heart rate afterward. Understanding the scientific ways to make your dog love you more is the first step to strengthening your bond. If you master any of these signs, use them as an opportunity to improve your relationship. In fact, to learn more about how dogs interpret human behavior, check out this video here to learn more about what dogs may or may not like.